Okay, Amy and Carol, why don't you tell us what happened today?
Well, a few days ago we received an email from Carmel Cafiero from News 7, and basically asking us about 4 dogs that we rescued on our last rescue with almost 100 volunteers. And this is personal. This is not about saving lives or finding out what happened to dogs that are suffering on the street. She basically came out and said that we are stealing dogs, when in fact the 4 dogs that she is referring to, 1, a black lab in the middle of the street crying in pain with a collar and a tag with a phone number, just a phone number. We called the phone number and asked her if this was her dog, and she said to leave it there in the middle of the street. The dog was crying in pain. Okay.
How hot was it?
It was 123 degrees that registered on the thermometer that day. And we called actually a second time with a Spanish-speaking person because she had an accent, and again she said leave the dog on the street. We don't leave suffering dogs on the street, as you know. And number 2, the dog was brought into Imperial Point Animal Hospital, which we provided her with the vet records, that she has been crying for 5 days straight with super inner ear infections. So if anybody thinks I should have left that dog on the street, you're out of your mind. You should not be along with animals.
Was Carmela interested in the medical records of the dogs?
Absolutely not. I actually showed her, I opened up my folders for all the vet records of all the dogs that we've taken in, over $200,000 in just 1 year's time. And here I showed her the $24,125.66 balance that we owe Imperial Point right now. I also showed her proof that we are complied with and filed legally with the Department of Agriculture, which is all here in writing, that I gave her the proof of this.
She was not interested in.
She was interested in the 4 dogs.
Basically, it was just an attack on our rescue.
Again.
And to go back to the black dog that we were speaking about, after we had called the owner and the owner said leave the dog in the middle of the road, or the supposedly owner, we don't know. They just said leave the dog in the middle of the road. We wanted to bring the dog to where the dog we thought would belong, but we had nowhere to take the dog. When we said to Carmel Cafiero, it's illegal to even have a dog off the leash, is it not? And she had responded with yes. And then she said, but it's a rural area.
So basically the laws don't comply.
They don't apply
to rural areas. So we should leave the dog in the middle of the road with 2 inner ear infections, suffering in the heat in the middle of nowhere, and it's not even legal to have your dog off of a leash.
And let's move on to the second dog.
Okay.
Okay, Wilbur, who came in emaciated, as you saw from the pictures. You could count every rib, every bone in his body. He's anaplasmosis positive, which is a tick-borne disease. Okay, we took him into safety. Neuter, he was not neutered, and he had a red collar on his neck with no tags.
Which is something that we find out there, and we find dogs in the middle of the woods with collars on.
What about Sandy? Sandy that we just took 2 weeks to rescue, and her 2 puppies, Zen and Miracle, she had a red collar on her neck. Should we have left her in the woods with her 2 puppies because she may be somebody's dog?
There's no microchip, they're not registered, there's no proof of ownership, they're in the middle of nowhere, and just because the dog has a collar, these people are abandoning these dogs with collars on.
Embedded.
In the middle of nowhere. So we do have to cut collars off of the dogs sometimes. So that's Wilbur. He was in the middle of nowhere.
And then two schnauzers, Evie and Finnegan, we named them. They're 1.5 years old each, male, female. We think they're brother, sister. We can speculate and think they were being used for breeding. They were matted beyond. They had to be sedated to be shaved down. They are both heartworm positive, not spayed, not neutered, and they are anaplasmosis positive, which is also, again, a tick-borne disease. So these dogs are out here. They're suffering. And these are so-called responsible pet owners.
And when we asked Carmel Cafiero to please, when she came in here to do the interview, which was not really an interview, it was an attack. And we asked her, we showed her all these records, we showed her all the lives that we saved, and she said, oh, she's not interested in that, she's only interested in these 4 particular dogs.
She called this a self-proclaimed rescue.
Right. So basically what we're asking, I guess, from our supporters, because you know, this is going to be aired on TV.
Well, let me ask you a question, Carol. Let me just stop you for a second and ask you a question. We've gotten so much positive attention from so much media. We've had so many news crews that actually went out with us on rescue and actually saw what happened out there. Is this the first time Carmela's come at you like that?
Absolutely not. She
She's
did
the only
a story,
one.
the only one. She did a story on us back, I don't know how long ago, Rescue
June.
Wrong or Right in
It's
June.
June.
Okay.
We took
2012.
2012, we took in a pregnant dog, okay, that gave birth 24 hours later.
That we found in
That
the
we
middle
found
of
in
the
the middle of
road.
a slaughter farm after we
Yeah.
just found remains of a horse's skull, hip bone, and a Santeria pot where they're sacrificing animals for religious beliefs. And this dog, Angel, that we named, gave birth, and we had it in writing, vet record, that if we left that dog out there, the puppies would not have survived. She had no milk in her nipples for having so many litters out there. Where are all those
Well,
puppies?
so that was the first
that's the
attack.
first attack.
So again, just to summarize, with all the positive attention that you're getting, with all the positive news media, this is the only person that's coming after
The only
you.
person.
The only
So it
person.
kind of feels like
And
this
I'm
is
going
a
to tell
personal.
everybody the background.
Well, let me.
This is a
no. I just what I want to say is that Sun Sentinel has been on rescues with us. Channel 5, Channel 25,
Miami Herald,
Miami Herald,
Wink News.
Wink News. All of these people have been on rescues with us. We have gotten people, reporters crying, reporters, adopting some
tears.
of our dogs, just in tears and thanking us.
And
for
I
what we
invited her
do.
on a rescue, and she said she doesn't need to go on a rescue.
Right, so this is the only one that we're dealing with this. We don't like to put any kind of negative things because it's really about the dogs for us. We don't want to do this. We want to be out there saving dogs. We want to do what we do best, what we're intended to do, what our mission is. But unfortunately, when things like this happen, we need your support.
And your support right now is, we need you to contact News 7 and let them know what you think about this bogus story. The phone number for the news assignment desk is 305-795-2779. Again, 305-795-2777. Sorry. And then you can also call 305-627-2583. That's the Miami office. The Broward office is 954-921-2583. And if you want to write an email, it's clue, CLUE, @WSVN.com.
We don't want this to be too long.
Just to summarize it, we need the help of all
We
of
need
our
the supporters. Perfect example, when the dog was posted on the page in Delray, tethered, all the supporters came on. 5,000 people called on that dog. The dog is still tethered. Animal control sent out there multiple times. Guys, we all know the bottom line is that if there are laws in place for protection of these animals, they're not being reinforced. And it takes an army like us to get these things done. We're not going away. We're going to continue fighting for the animals because why? They don't have a voice. We are their only voice. So start making your calls now because this is bogus.
Thank you for your support. Thank you, everyone.